Chevy would still last 20 years like they should. Well, that's the line of a country song from way back when, but I think he makes a good point. You ought to know what it takes just to make it work and make it keep working. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. Stay tuned.
Think storytelling's just for bedtime? Nah, it's the secret sauce for business magic. Stuck in a rut with bland pitches and yawning clients? Enter Boost Your Business with Story Power. 6 weeks of epic storytelling training. It's like leveling up in a video game but for your career. Master the art of narrative and watch connections blossom like a viral TikTok. Simple, impactful, and game-changing. Ready to transform your biz vibes? Dive in now and make storytelling your superpower.
Subscribe now for access to our extensive media library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. Begin your personal growth plan at storypoweracademy.com for leadership development and communication skills training.
I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. I had one of those old Ford and Chevys. In fact, my very first car, the first one I ever bought, I bought from my choir teacher. I agreed to pay $500 for it. 1975 Mercury Grand Marquis. Yep, bigger than a tugboat. That thing was monstrous. Had a big old 460 engine in it. Sounded incredible. Had glass packs on it, but it had a bad transmission. So after I bought it and drove it 2 or 3 times, it wouldn't go anywhere. So she took it back and I didn't have to finish making the payments on it. The next car I bought, the one that I drove through most of my high school years, was a 1967 Chevy Impala Fastback with a 3 on the tree and a tiny little 283 V8 in it. For a season, a lot of people thought it was the fastest car in town because it won a lot of races and got me in a lot of trouble. But the thing that I liked about that old car was that I could open the hood and look underneath there, and what I saw was a motor. That's pretty much it. Just an engine and a transmission and a few accoutrements to make it work. A carburetor, some spark plugs and wires. But at 16, 17 years old when I bought that car, there was almost nothing under the hood that I couldn't do to it. And with the advice of my uncle and a couple extra tools, I could do just about everything. We replaced the clutch. We replaced the distributor. We rebuilt the carburetor. We did all kinds of stuff to that old car. I opened the hood on my wife's Volvo today, and I barely can find the engine in there. There's so much plastic and so many electronics, and everything under the hood of that car is different than under the hood of the car that I grew up working on. Now, they're both combustion engines, and the basic principles of a combustion engine, they haven't changed for over 200 years. Fuel, heat, oxygen, that's what makes a fire. That's what makes explosion. That's what makes combustion. Now all you gotta do is figure out how to make the wheels turn when it explodes. Pretty simple stuff, right? And so we started adding all these emissions and things of that nature. And here's what's ironic. Most of the stuff that's under the hood of your car today is there because some politician figured a way to make money by making it necessary. Didn't necessarily improve the quality of the vehicle. Certainly doesn't make it last any longer. Certainly doesn't make it more affordable to purchase, to operate, to own, to maintain, to repair. So why is it all there? Well, because people get these notions that if I twinkle with it, if I make it do something different, if I add to it, that those nuances are improvement. They're not. There might be some modicum of fuel efficiency. But we have a car that's about 15 years old that in its heyday would be considered the top of the line. Fuel economy, efficiency, power, space, safety, all. It's a Volvo XC60. In its heyday, it was among the best of the best. It's 15 years old now. It's still a pretty good little car. But my motorcycle that doesn't have any of those gadgets on it gets better gas mileage. My old Ford Excursion with one tuner kit on it pulling 3 times the weight, possessing 15 times the pulling power. Got better fuel economy than the little Volvo. Why is that true? And why is it that with all these other electronics and accoutrements added to the combustion engine, it doesn't perform any better? Because that wasn't really the gain. See, the win, the buy-in, was to sell you a notion, to sell you an idea that this little change was going to bring about improvement. And the honest truth is, and I hate to say it because it's true even in my industry, as a leader, as a leadership coach, as a motivational speaker, as someone who helps other people build their business around the information that they deliver. There's a lot of hucksters in this business that have no intention of actually making you better. They've just figured out what accoutrements they can add to a known truth and sell you the accoutrement. That's it. How many O2 sensors does my 96 Ford van have? How many does it need? How about that 75 Ford truck? How many did it have? 0. Can anybody prove that it did any worse or better than the diesel trucks that are on the road today or the little diesel efficient cars? I mean, the only thing that doesn't put out emissions is an electric car or a hydrogen one. Oh yeah, it puts out emission. It's called water. Why don't we have more of those? Same principle. Someone found a way to make money off the accoutrements that did not bring about improvement. They just sold you something along the way. See, what's really stuck in my craw today is the number of people that I encounter, even in my industry. I've been listening a lot to a guy that I recently been turned on to maybe 2 or 3 months ago by the name of Myron Golden. I know he's been around a lot longer than 3 months. I've just recently discovered him, so to speak. But Myron's a pretty solid guy from all of my assessments so far. He has proven results, not only what he does for himself, but what he offers to the people that he helps. And I'm taking a lot of the advice that he offers. I love one of the things he said, look, if you're willing to do the work, all the information you need from me, you can get for free. It's going to take you a while to accumulate it. Truth be told, if you're in one of my 6 weeks programs, you can go through the 6 weeks program on attitude or the 6 weeks program on story power. You can go through either one of those in 6 weeks for $1,000. That's a pretty fast learning curve to get all of that information. But if you want the same information and you don't want to pony up 6 weeks, just watch Leading Leaders podcast. For the last 10 years, I've been teaching the same stuff. Okay, that's exactly the same principle that Myron Golden operates under. I'm going to give you good, solid stuff. Good, principled, truth-based stuff. And if you're willing to piece and parse it together and find it in all the various places throughout the podcast and the videos that I produce, then good on you. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Use it. Apply it. It'll make a difference in your life. If you wanted a concise time frame, that's going to cost you. If you want it done for you, that's going to cost you even more. Content doesn't change. It's like a combustion engine. The combustion engine has not changed in over 200 years. Why? Because it works. Now, you can add all kinds of bells and whistles to it. You can add things that make it go faster, like a supercharger or a blower or a turbocharger. You can change the fuel. You can bore out the pistons. You can add more oxygen. You can do all kinds of things to make it faster. But the basics of a combustion engine haven't changed in over 200 years. Because it works. See, there's a little book. This is my copy. This is my scribbled in copy. If I showed you all the pages in here, you would see handwriting in almost every page, because I don't read a book. I devour a book. I study a book. I consume a book. I let the book consume me. But this particular one, this is John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And that particular book, before Harry Potter, it was one of the best-selling books as a single title in history next to the Bible. It was in the top 5. I think Harry Potter maybe has even surpassed the Bible, which frightens me, but I digress. What's awesome about the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is that they're like a combustion engine. They just work. I mean, sure, people add nuances to them. They delve into one of the principles and they want to change things around. They want to add a little something to it. They flavor it or spice it up with their own experiences. I got no problem with that. As long as we understand that the reason these are called the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership is because, well, John spent 30 plus years studying, reading, writing, living, and experiencing these principles. And hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, well, millions, let's see, I think it said on here at one point, one of the best-selling leadership books of all time. This one doesn't say on the cover. Another one I have actually says on the cover how many. This one says over 1 million copies sold. So over 1 million people have read this book or at least purchased it. And the principles, the 21 irrefutable laws, haven't changed. They were the same when the book was written as they are today. Now, you can nuance them, you could add a little to them, you can make them a little faster, you can make them a little sleeker, you could personalize them to your own experiences, you could apply them to your own industry. But they're like a combustion engine. They just always work. There's something powerful to that. And one of the challenges I run into today in my industry and other similar industries is that there are a lot of people who just have to say something. They don't have anything new to say. They can't look at the 21 irrefutable laws and go, well, let me argue that, or let me offer you a better position, or let me add to that. Let me truly enhance that. They just create stuff out of nowhere. And they believe it on Monday, and by Tuesday they've changed their mind. Because there's nothing in their core belief system that's solid. There's no combustion engine at the base of what they do. There is no foundation to their foundational principles. They don't have any. They show up in a lot of different ways. Sometimes they show up at the network meeting where every time you go to the network meeting, they have a new business card. There's something new that is the most important thing to them today. And every other time you see them, it's a different something new that's most important to them today. It changes. It evolves, they would like to say, but evolution is a theory. And the theory of evolution, as we know it, has some big holes in it. If you think everything evolves, let me ask you this. Why is it that everything that's metal that's left on its own rusts until it goes away? If you believe in evolution, why is it that when a tree dies, it rots? It doesn't come back as for other trees, it rots into nothingness. Why does that happen? Why is it that everything that's not growing is decaying? Why does it not evolve into something better? That's what happens to people's ideas when they're not based on a foundational truth. When you have notions and ideas and they seem fanciful and they seem wonderful and they make everybody happy and feel good today, but 2 weeks from now they have to change because, well, they weren't based on foundational truth to begin with. They didn't have any actual principles behind them. There was no core combustion engine underneath them. I mean, if I went out to my wife's little Volvo and I opened the hood and I took off that big plastic cover and I took off 5 or 6 other little plastic covers and I began to remove some of the stuff around her motor compartment, eventually I would find a combustion engine because that's what's in there. That's what makes the whole thing run. But if I took the combustion engine out and I put all of the other stuff, the smog detectors and the O2 sensors and the temperature sensors and the gate, all of that back without the combustion engine, the whole car is a paperweight. The combustion engine is the core principle that operates that car. Even if you want to go with an EV, take the motor out. And all the batteries and all the sensors and all the switches and all the gauges, they mean nothing. It's not a car. It doesn't move without the motor. The motor is the primary. It's the core. It's the principle. It's the irrefutable laws. The challenge with so many people in leadership today is that they've lost sight of what they truly believe. You've got to get clear on what you believe, and then you've got to stay clear on it. Get clear, and then portray yourself clearly. Get clear, and be clear. randomly, or as random as you want it to be. I pulled this book off the shelf to talk about this idea of core principles, about the irrefutable, the undeniable, the I can't argue with itness of 21 irrefutable laws. And it just so happens that the page that it was earmarked to, because I often use my dust cover as my bookmark, is on page 172. You know what the subtitle heading is on page 172? It says, lest you think I'm making it up, right? You see it right there? It says on page 172, you are the message. Every message that people receive is filtered through the messenger who delivers it. If you consider the messenger to be credible, then you believe the message has value. That's one reason actors and athletes are hired as promoters of products. People buy Nike shoes because they bought into Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, or Michael Vick, not necessarily because of the quality of the shoes. The same is true when actors promote causes. Have the actors being employed suddenly becomes expert in the cause they're promoting? You find a good actor, they're good looking, they were good in a movie, you love the movie, now all of a sudden that actor's promoting a cause like, I don't know, puppies, kids in Nigeria, Nicki Minaj. Have they suddenly become experts in this topic, in the cause that they're promoting? Usually not, but that doesn't matter. People want to listen to them because they believe in them as people or because they have credibility as performers. And once people have bought into someone, they're willing to give the person's vision a chance. People want to go along with people they get along with. That's one of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Let's see, what's the core? The law of buy-in. That's the principle, the law of buy-in. And the first thing that he teaches in the law of buy-in is that you are the messenger. If you're not clear on your principles, if you're not clear on what makes you tick, are you an electric motor or a combustion engine? A hydrogen engine or a gasoline or diesel or liquid propane? But if you're a combustion engine, if that's what drives you, if that's what motivates you, then all the other accoutrements may be beautiful add-ons. But the electric heated seats, the air-conditioned seats, yeah, I was recently in a truck that had air-conditioned seats. Who would have thought of that? I don't know, in Texas they should have thought of it 100 years ago. But that's not a combustion engine. The most comfortable, the best handling, the widest stance, the sleekest body, the best aerodynamics, the most fuel efficient, all of those things are irrelevant if there's no combustion engine or some other type of motor to make it go. Well, what does it matter? And so the combustion engine is the core. All the rest of it's the decoration. It doesn't go anywhere without that. But when you're the messenger, you are the combustion engine. All the rest of it is accoutrements. All the rest of it is make it pretty. It might make it go a little faster, but it doesn't make it go. I'll lift the hood of your favorite vehicle. Take the combustion engine out and throw a blower in there and see what happens. Nada. How about a turbocharger? How about a better transmission? Yeah, no. Bigger tires? No. A louder stereo? Better air conditioning, a sunroof, a T-top, a convertible. Doesn't matter. They're all accoutrements. Without the core, there's no go. So what's your core? What do you really believe in? What is it that you hold steadfast to, that if you lost a headlight or you lost a wheel or you ripped the top off your car, you could still keep going because what drives you keeps you going? See, buy-in comes from the messenger. The message and the messenger should be inseparable. The challenge for many people today is that they're willing to throw whatever seems to get people's attention on there. The clown on the unicycle. Get attention. It doesn't matter what you truly believe. It doesn't matter who you truly are. It doesn't matter what life you actually live. It only matters what you portray to people. That's a challenge. That's a challenge for me. I don't want to follow people who are different on Monday than they are on Wednesday. I don't want to follow people who can't be constantly informed in the same direction. Now, I get it. Social issues challenge us. Social issues change us. Culture changes us. The friends that we hang out with. If 5 people you hang out with, they're going to determine the quality of your life. The 5 books that you read, they will determine who you are. You put those 2 things together, and there's no better predictor of your future. The 5 books you read, the 5 people you hang out with, that's going to tell you your future, because all of those are input. You can have the best combustion engine in the world, and if you fill it full of sand, it goes nowhere. Just a tablespoon of sugar in the gas tank, and you can destroy almost anyone's car. Why do you think we all have locking gas caps now? Oh yeah, sure, it had to do with stealing your fuel in high price eras, but it also had a lot to do with people damaging your car by pouring something into the gas tank. Thousands of dollars worth of damage with 15 cents of sugar. Can happen. Why do you think the 5 people in your life make such a big difference? Because their language, their thoughts, their behavior, their attitude around you, the things they say to you and about you. It's like sugar in your gas tank. The best tuned combustion engine, the strongest core values, the best set of ideals, tampered with by someone who doesn't have your best interest at heart, can destroy you. The 5 books that you read, I'll go back to the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership over and over again. I can constantly learn something new at a new level. Is that evolution? No, I call it growth. I didn't know yesterday what I know today. I didn't know 10 years ago what I know today. That's not evolution. That's growth. A tree that's planted and watered and pruned and taken care of and fertilized and protected against the storms, that tree grows. That's not evolution. That's growth. They're not the same. Look it up. Do some research. Growth and evolution are not the same. As society moves about with every different storm and wind, and every time culture changes a little bit, we move our ideas, we move the plumb line, we move what's right, what's wrong, what's left, what's right, what's up, what's down, what's male, what's female, what's light, what's dark. As those things move, people like to call it evolution. I'm not convinced. I'm not even convinced the definition fits, but it's certainly not the process that we've detailed as a theory. And I'm not convinced that it's growth either. Look, you're going to have to decide what your combustion engine is. What is it that makes you tick? What is it that makes you operate? Slapping a turbo, some new sensors, some sound devices, a new stereo, upgrading the seats, tinting the glass, making it a convertible, none of those things makes the engine any better. But if you're not clear on what drives you, what motivates you, what makes you move forward, what causes you to stay in the race, if you're not clear on that, then your message is not going to be clear. And if your message is not going to be clear, then gaining buy-in is complicated. Getting people to go where you want them to go, leading them, influencing them, whether it's in running your business or it's in the small groups that you lead or it's in your household. If you're not certain about your foundation, if you're not determined to stay committed to your core values, your combustion engine, then you're going to get pushed all over the road, so to speak. Think of all the guys in the demolition derbies. They look for 2 things: a car with a long nose and a big motor. If they can make it go long enough to get through the race, they're okay. They don't care how pretty it is. Make sure it's got a roll cage, a big, solid motor that's going to keep running, and a long nose. Why? Because the longer the nose, the more protection there is for the motor. You still want to back into people because you don't want to crunch your motor, because the minute your motor is out, you're dead in the race. See, we don't look at life the same way. We don't ask what it is that compels us, what drives us, what keeps us moving. That combustion motor. If that's your primary source of motivation of moving forward, if it's your belief system, protect it. Guard it. Forget about all the silly accoutrements. Get back to the core and take good care of it. Otherwise, it's just not going to last. And if you have not read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, put down whatever it is you're reading right now and get back to that for a minute. Get back to the basics, the basic of basics. Now, I would say right alongside this, grab the Bible. In fact, if you study this long enough, you'll realize that a lot of this came from the Bible first, because that's just the kind of who that John is. That's why he's my number one mentor. Some good people out there teaching some good stuff. There's some clowns out there riding around on unicycles that are getting your attention because they've got slick marketing and they make you feel like what they have to say is going to be important to you, but it's really not going to change the quality of your life. I want to challenge you to find those things that are your core beliefs and invest in them deeply. It matters. It makes a big, big deal into who you are. It's how you gain buy-in. And when people buy into your vision but they don't buy into you, they find another leader. When they buy into you as a leader but you don't have a clear vision, they find another leader. When they buy into you and your vision, they're on your side. They're going to stay with you. They're going to help protect that vision, that core value, those core principles for as long as they can, because that's how they win as well. Let me close with this. I saw a guy yesterday who was challenged by a young person on the street, and the young person said, look, if you get over $2 million a year in annual income, once you cross that $2 million mark, every dollar that you earn after $2 million should be taxed at 70%. And the guy replied and said, look, I've got a perfect solution for that. When I get to $1,999,000, I'll simply stop earning for the year. I'll put my business on pause. I'll furlough all my employees. That means they get sent home without a check. And I'll go take a break until that tax cycle is over. And I'll come back next year and earn $1,099,000. But I'm not giving the government or anybody else 70%. I'm not working for 30 cents on the dollar. I'll make my cap and then I'll stop earning. If you don't understand what your core values are, you might look at that and see him as a criminal. I have to ask the question, why would you want to take 70% of the money he's worked for and giving it to people who don't want to work at all? Better know what your core values are, your combustion engine. What is it that drives you? What is it that keeps you going? Figure that out. Get clear on it. Be clear on it and maintain it well. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, or Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. There is a retreat coming up that I want you to know about. It's called the Story Power Academy Retreat. This Story Power Retreat is about focusing on your communication skills, taking them to the next level. Discover, develop, draft, deploy, and deliver some of the best stories you've ever learned. You're going to listen, create, connect, relax, and reflect around this beautiful lake scene in Granbury, Texas. It's a chance to rejuvenate and refresh and start over with some of the best training you can possibly imagine around storytelling, leadership, and communication. Join us, get away, and relax.
Subscribe now for access to our extensive media library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. Begin your personal growth plan at storypoweracademy.com.